Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Full Time Devils. I am Adam McCullough. Good morning. We are back, and this is a new feature. Well, you've seen the paper review before. This is Gazzetta United. Yeah, old school, styly, football Italia, little chat with the newspapers and look back at the headlines following Manchester United's 1-1 draw with Everton at Goodison Park. And there was so much drama as well, so much drama. We had the VAR instances at the end of the game, goalkeeping errors all over the place. It was absolute madness at Goodison Park. And fingers crossed it doesn't cost United a top 4 spot, because after the game I was disappointed. I was really disappointed that we never capitalised on everyone dropping points and all that. But 1-1 against the Ancelotti Everton side isn't that much of a bad result, is it? It's really not that bad of a result. So I'm not too disappointed with the result, just the circumstances. And I got a little bit of stick for my comments on De Gea yesterday, but we'll talk about them in a bit. We're going through these first now. When we're looking at the back pages, it doesn't make great reading for Manchester United fans, as we can obviously see Manchester City celebrating another trophy, which isn't great for Manchester United. Look at them everywhere celebrating trophies. Constant domestic success from Manchester City. It's getting a little bit boring now, isn't it? Watching Manchester City win. But nevertheless, let's get stuck into one of the papers first. Which newspaper is this? It's the Daily Mail. And on the back pages, they literally had nothing about Manchester United. It was all Manchester City again. But inside, it does say, justice done. Justice done. And they're talking about that VAR decision now. You've got a picture there of Ancelotti getting sent off, which is obviously great. And I didn't see that at the time, because obviously we're getting ready for fan cams and all that by the time referees and managers are arguing in the middle of the pitch. But if you look at the decision that was made and the decision that eventually saw Ancelotti get sent off, Calvert-Lewin's shooting the ball. And these are the things I love about newspapers, these little step-by-step 1, 2, 3, 4 guides. Because they can't put a video in the newspaper, they go with that. And I remember there were times when that'd be the only replay some of us would get of some games. But nevertheless, Calvert-Lewin taking a shot. As he's taking a shot, Sigurdsson's clearly in an offside position in front of the goalkeeper. Now that shot takes a deflection, that doesn't matter. So the deflection doesn't matter. On the way into the goal, Sigurdsson moves his legs out of the way, which then mean that it's not going to hit him and the ball goes in. So he's moves his legs to allow the ball to go in, and as a result, he's interfering with play. He's active, interfering, offside. I really don't get what all the furore is about, and all the booing and the whistling and the jeering and Ancelotti losing his head and all that stuff. I really didn't get it. Now, there maybe could have been a penalty from Wan-Bissaka and Sigurdsson, all right, but that offside goal was never a goal. And Sigurdsson even had the cheek to get up and start celebrating with his teammates. Didn't make sense to me. It really didn't make sense to me. So, yeah, it had to have been disallowed, and it was rightly disallowed. As for David De Gea and that mistake, he made some great saves in the game. He did make some great saves in the game, but ultimately, that mistake cost us 2 points. Simple as that. Anyway, let's look at some of the player ratings that Manchester United got. David De Gea got 6. Wan-Bissaka 5.5. Lindelof is 6. Maguire 6. I think that's harsh on Maguire. I thought he had a good game. Shaw 5.5. McTominay 6. Matas 6, who came on as a sub. Matic 6.5. Fred 7. Fernandes 7. Martial 6. Williams 6. And Greenwood 6. Igalo 6. Missed that opportunity, but it was was it a half chance? Was it a full? I'm not really sure, but he missed it. He missed it. I think the keeper, everything was going on in front of him quite quickly, and it was probably an easy chance to miss. But look, we're 3 points behind Chelsea, 10 games to go. Our next 2 league fixtures are massively difficult. Obviously, we've got City at home, Spurs away. I think if we can get a decent points tally out of that, it's not beyond us to get top 4 this season. But games like this is why we're not going to get it, because we're dropping points again. Dropping points. So next up, we're looking at the Daily Mail now. Daily Mirror. They're all the same in it, these newspapers. Let's be real. Again, another talking about Pep Guardiola's City side lifting the first trophy of the season at the back. Carlo sees red over VAR call. Klopp demands a Kop reboot. which is interesting as well. Pep's a true great, they say on the back of that one. And Pep's in the Hall of Fame. 8 domestic trophies in 4 years. They're going to like he's reinvented football, aren't they? He hasn't reinvented football, let's be real. And I don't think it's a case of him being, I seen someone say he's the greatest yesterday. Come on, chill out. Back to back League Cups. All right then, let's calm down. Anyway, something that we may be interested in that has come from the League Cup final, which is this story on Jack Grealish there, obviously hugging John Terry in that picture, but we don't know about that. And it says Jack Grealish will go to, the chance for glory is gone, and now Grealish will go to, and fingers crossed he's going to Manchester United, because fantastic talent. Obviously he wasn't amazing in that game, but it's going to be difficult for any player coming up against City when your team's got 75% possession and all that, to make a big impact on the game. But yeah, fantastic talent, and hopefully Manchester United are at the front of the queue for that one. Again, on the next page, weepers, keepers is what we're getting here in the Daily Mirror about Manchester United. More questions raised over De Gea and Pickford's futures as Howler's gift goals at both ends of the pitch. Shocking error for opening goal, but made very important late stop. He's got a 6 player rating. Look, it was a horrible error. I do feel we should have played with a back 3 yesterday, but you know, with that being said, it doesn't excuse what he did. It was a disastrous error. Shouldn't have done it, and it was disappointing to see. He's made 7 goalkeeping mistakes which have led to goals since the start of last season. That's not good enough for a goalkeeper of his calibre. But at the same time, I think we should stick by him. I really do think we should stick by him. And I'll tell you why I think that a little bit later, because I'm going to be replying to one of your comments from my review. Right, now we're into The Guardian, and it's going again with the De Gea gift. Gives Everton lift before VAR ruins late surgery. VAR ruined it. Sigurdsson ruined it by being on the floor, not getting up, complaining about decision. If he gets up quicker, he's onside, and Everton have the win. Instead, he had the cheek to sit in an offside position, be active, and then when they scored, got up and involved himself in the celebrations. Imagine doing that when you know you're offside. You've only got yourself to blame. But elsewhere, Paul Wilson says Fernandez's quality makes Pogba queries redundant. Now, obviously, Graham Souness was running his mouth about Paul Pogba again yesterday, and I don't quite get it, especially Keno as well, man. Keno, have a day off, do you know what I mean? Paul Pogba's not playing and we're there talking about him. But in terms of Paul Pogba and his future at United, it does make the queries redundant about Paul Pogba, because it shows that, look, if Paul Pogba leaves, we've got Bruno Fernandes who's there and can be a creative focal point for the team. I feel like you need more than one of those players, and that's why I would be keen for United to keep hold of Paul Pogba. But nevertheless, it makes United in a bit of a stronger position when it comes to him, because we're looking at it and we're thinking, we've got a player that can play in that position. If we sell Pogba, we can reinvest that money into the team in other areas. And it takes the pressure off us in terms of replacing him and all that. Of course, if Paul Pogba stays and we can add him to the midfield with Bruno Fernandes and Fred McTominay and all that, then we've got a fantastic midfield. But as of yet, this is where we are, do you know what I mean? So, he's probably going to leave, and that disappoints me. I'd love Paul Pogba to stay at United. But he is probably going to leave at the end of this season. Right, last newspaper now, Love and Hate, right here from the Daily Express, obviously talking about his 8th trophy. Sick of that already, talking about Manchester City and their trophy. But with the United one, they're going with a game of 2 gaffes. Yes, a game of 2 gaffes. I don't really want to talk about this anymore. Talk about these mistakes from David De Gea. It's really boring me now. So Ollie, they're still calling him the best goalkeeper in the world, which is, you know, we expect Ollie to stick behind his man, get behind him and all that. And look, yesterday we had Lewis Rigg saying as well, in the comments of my review, no, he didn't cost us. He made one effing mistake, and then he made 3 or 4 world-class saves. We'd be in the Championship if we didn't have him. put some respect on his name. I've never disrespected David De Gea. I don't know why when you criticise someone it's always seen as disrespect. He deserves criticism. He'd criticise himself after that. The simple fact is, if he doesn't make that mistake, United win 1-0. Yes, he did make some saves towards the end of it, which helped us, and I'm glad Ole Gunnar Solskjaer comes out and defends him. I'm not calling for his head or saying we need to replace him with Dean Henderson or anything like that, because I don't think that's the case in this situation here. We do need to stick by him, and he showed that. It wasn't one of those David De Gea games where he's all over the place and he's losing the ball and he's looking weak and all that. He made some great saves in the game, and he made one straight after his error, but the simple fact is the error cost us, and quite frankly not good enough, and we need better from David De Gea. Otherwise we have to look at replacing him in the long term. But then I can also see the perspective that, you know, when goalkeepers make mistakes, they're usually punished for it. Anyway, before we go, done with the newspapers and all that good stuff, but now we need to look at this tweet from United Arena, and it says Chelsea opportunities for United to close the gap via game week since November. Game week 13, Chelsea lost, United drew. 14, Chelsea lost, United drew. 17, Chelsea lost, United drew. 21, Chelsea drew, United lost. And 23, we both lost. 24, drew, and then we lost. Both drew again. And 25 and 28, we've missed so many opportunities. 8 opportunities to close the gap on Chelsea since November, and that's, for me, is why we're not going to get top 4 in my opinion, and that has to be a lot better. We have to start turning some of these draws into wins and some of those defeats into draws. Yes, we're getting better. Yes, we're on a better run of form. I don't think it was a bad result against Everton at all, but we can do a lot better. Anyway, look, that has been the Gazzetta United today. Thank you for bearing with us. We'll do this every single week, obviously. Every single week I'll reply to some of your comments in my review. We'll go through the newspapers, look at the player ratings, all that good stuff. But thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe. Keep it locked to Full Time Devils. Also guys, subscribe to youtube.com/AdamMcCullough, because while I'm here, I'm going to be looking at the Premier League headlines and putting up a video called the Premier League Gazette on Adam McCullough TV. So go and check that out. See you later.